So there was this conversation going on in the in-game chat about what the most boring builds in the game were. And one player said that he found the Warpath builds and the Minion builds to be the most boring to play. And so all I could think to myself was, thank goodness I already combined the two for maximum effect. What you're looking at is what I'm calling the Auto Aircraft Carrier Forge Guard. It uses Warpath to create a whole bunch of minions you can see it on the screen, to clear stuff and boss. I'll admit that the execution of it turned out both better and worse than I could have ever imagined. It's not super interesting to play, nor is it particularly fast to clear, but man, does it boss good, and man, is it tanky. It has very good mobility, as you saw in the brief clip of the Lagon fight that I showed earlier. Makes it super easy to dodge boss mechanics. The damage is automatic, so literally you press one button. If you use the numlock trick, then you only have to press it literally once. If you are experiencing the Warpath bug or the channel bug, then again, you literally only have to press one button, and you just can roam through the map, spinning and winning. The only real mechanic to this build is that you learn what the A button does, which is it commands your minions to attack something, and that actually helps with your clear significantly, particularly if you find a mob with the affix that nearby enemies take much less damage. Anyway, all that being said, my name's Melvide. Thank you for clicking on this video. Let's get into it. So we're going to start with Forestrike. This is the core skill of the build. Even though you hardly ever press it, I think I've only pressed it a handful of times myself. This is what scales our forged weapons. It gives them flat damage. We're also going to be taking the duration nodes and the attack speed nodes. And then at the end, once all that's done, then you can take the area nodes, and this actually significantly boosts your clear quite a bit. Our actual main skill, the one we use the most, is Warpath. This is what procs all of our forged weapons for us. It spits them out constantly, hence the name Auto Aircraft Carrier, because we don't deal damage, but we sure have a lot of mini things that come out of us that do. In this tree, we are going to take lower mana cost for it, so you can Warpath indefinitely without draining your mana. Obviously, you're going to take the summon forged weapon per 5 seconds, and then take the higher frequency up to 125%, so you get it roughly every 2.25 to 2.5 seconds. You need at least 2 points in move speed. This is actually super important. For the longest time, I did not have the points in there. It made bossing really, really difficult. It made clear and echoes feel really bad. So you absolutely need at least 2 points in move speed. And then go into block chance for the block chance while channeling, and the block effectiveness while channeling. From there, if you have any points from your equipment that provide Warpath levels, then either finish off your move speed or go further into block chance, depending on exactly how you're feeling. For me personally, I found that just the 2 points in the move speed was more than enough to be effective at both clear and bossing. For our third skill, we're using Manifest Armor. This gives us another minion to scale with. The passive node that scales forged weapons also scales Manifest Armor. Basically, it's just another minion for us to have. It also does scale off your own equipment, so making sure that you have good equipment is actually going to really boost the survivability and damage of your manifested armor. For this tree, we're going to take the nodes that give a copy of our weapon that uses our weapon stats, and then gives it a copy of our shield that uses our shield stats. We're going to increase its health. We're going to scale it off of the body. And then from there, you have a couple of points to spare after you max all those out. So you can put those points in whichever piece of armor you feel is the best suited for it to use. Personally, I think I went with 2 in gloves and 1 in boots. Or no, 2 in helmet and 1 in boots. Regardless, those 3 points or so are pretty much yours to do with as you wish. Just pick whichever equipment you feel is best for it. Our 4th specialization is Ring of Shields. This provides us a little bit of extra defense, a little bit of healing, something that provides a target for other monsters. In this tree, we're scaling the heal node, the duration, so then that way it actually lasts longer than its cooldown, and then block chance during uptime for just overall around pretty good defense. For this, we're hardly ever casting it ourselves. We're mostly relying on the passive that has a chance to proc it when you're hit to cast it, because that casts it for both no mana cost and with no cooldown. While I was scaling the build up to Empowereds, there were several points where I had 10, 15, 20, I even got up to 25 once number of shields, which is just an insane amount of healing, insane amount of block chance. It makes you insanely tanky. Our 5th one is Rive. This is mostly because there are going to be instances, particularly in long fights or with intense fights shortly after one another, where you might go a little bit low on mana because you are having to resummon your manifested armor, or you are having to cast Ring of Shields manually. So this provides a little bit of a cooldown to let your mana recharge. For this one, we are going with chance to create a forged weapon on kill, or when a rare or unique monster is hit. And then because of that, we're going to scale attack speed. And then we're also going to nix the 3rd strike, just because it doesn't really do anything for us. And then with our last couple of points, we're going to scale the ignite on the 1st and the 2nd strike of Rive. Just because our main hit with it isn't going to do much damage anyway, so you might as well go ahead and get a secondary source of damage going on with it. Next up, we're going to talk passives, and we're going to start, as always, with the core class passives for the Sentinel. For this, we're taking Vitality, Armor, Health. Go ahead and stick a point in the 1 point wonder that is the block chance node, and then get out of here. 20 points, no more. This tree sucks. For the Forge Guard tree, there's only really 3 nodes that are must-haves. Everything else is a little bit flexible. You need Folded Steel for flat minion damage. You need Shield Crafter for the chance to cast Ring of Shields automatically when hit. And then there is 1 node that gives you a little bit of attunement, armor, and armor for your minions. Other than that, we're going pure defense with health, armor, anything that makes us tankier, because if we die, then there's no more minions, and so the entire point of the build is gone. For the Paladin tree, we're picking up attunement, and then the single point in the block chance node, and then we are going all in on health. I think it's like 15 health per point, which is just absolutely insane. So absolutely pick up all the health here. In the Void Knight tree, we're just picking up the single node. It's health, and then the combined Void and Physical resists. Between this node and then the innate passive you get from being a Forge Guard, physical resist is capped already, so that feels great. But yeah, we're just in here for the health and then dip. For the items, I do have 2 specific uniques that I want to call out because they are, in one case, the best possible weapon you could have, which is RX Bones. This is a scepter. It gives specifically you and your minions chance to shred armor on hit. The fact that it says you and your minions is super important. That means that you get to double dip on that because your minions scale off of your weapon stats. This is true for both the manifested armor and the forged weapons. So essentially, your minions have double the chance to shred armor that this says. Between all 12 of my forged weapons, my manifested armor, and then myself hitting them, we very easily get up to about 80 armor shred stacks. And then additionally, this weapon provides some amount of increased armor shred effect. So essentially double the armor shred stacks of just plain armor shred. It's awesome. The second unique that I think is worth mentioning is Ribbons of Blood. This is a fairly common ring. It provides % health for you, which is great. It provides some flat minion damage, which is also great. And then it provides minion leech that you barely notice. It makes your minions just a little bit more survivable. This ring is not necessary by any means, unlike Eric's Bones. So if you don't have it, just pretty much any ring base with some % minion damage on it, and then some resists or vitality or health or whatever will work pretty much just as well. More generally, however, you're going to want minion damage. This is really the only way to scale the build's damage, so wherever you can get it is great. Minion health is also fantastic. I know that I previously had undervalued this stat. It just really helps your minions survive and last that much longer. So definitely get minion damage. If you can fit minion health in, then great. I know that I almost always see an exalted item with like tier 6 or tier 7 minion health in basically every stack of exalts that I see. Beyond that, in terms of what general affixes you're looking for, it's pretty much up to you. I definitely really highly recommend health. If wherever you can fit it, grab whatever resists you need in order to round those out and make sure that you're maxed off of them if you can't get maxed off of your blessings. I honestly really highly value endurance. So if you can find endurance, particularly on your shield, then that's great. I have enjoyed being at 60% endurance with as much endurance threshold as I can get. It helps me feel a lot tankier, particularly against damage over time, which is something this build struggles with. If you want plus levels, Warpath is really the only thing that's worth trying to scale off of. For the most part, nothing else gives you a ton of benefit, except for maybe Manifest Armor. But definitely if you're going to go for plus levels, go for Warpath. Try and get it on your chest if you can, so then that way the melee damage that pairs with it can be applied to your Manifested Armor. But that essentially wraps up this build guide. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the build. Even if you don't enjoy it, I hope you can see it for the exercise that it was. It's not a difficult play. It's not particularly engaging, but if you just want to relax and clear some monos, or relax and do a couple of bosses, even though that sentence is an odd one, then I actually really recommend this build for that in particular. You're not going to break any records. You're not going to zoom or anything like that. But it is generally a pretty relaxing build to play because you're hardly ever under any threat. If you enjoy this content, please like and subscribe. I am trying to do multiple videos a week, so we've got this one coming out on today, I guess it's Tuesday. I do want to do a build guide for the Spark Charge Elemental Nova that I played on stream today, so expect to see at least that later in the week, and then hopefully I can fit a third as well. As kind of alluded to, I do stream on Twitch. Often the builds that I'm planning on making a build guide for. So if you're interested in seeing the process, then come hang out with me. I typically start around 11 EST, though I'm hoping to start doing it earlier once I get my sleep schedule back on track. But 11 EST to 5 or 6 p.m. EST. So come hang out. I'm going to leave you with this Lagon fight that I did for the Empowered Mono. This is my mark that a build is done, is being able to do any monolith boss, any empowered monolith boss at 100 corruption. So enjoy the rest of this fight. I am going to speed up the rest of it though, so that way you're not sitting here for the approximately 5 minutes or 10 minutes that it took me to kill him.